Okay, this is going to be a quick video to show you guys, how to set up your Raspberry to use the sensor. Honestly, it shouldn't have been that hard, but a few of you are complaining about, setting it up. So I thought I would at least give you a few clues. Now, if you remember, the device, when we had it originally, when we first set it up, if you remember, we had it plugged in this way, right? Remember, we had this whole thing plugged in like this, with the red on this side, on the number 1, and that's always what this is for, okay? And we actually had this sensor plugged in over there. But ever since we added these little things here, it's not going to work. Well, duh. The reason we did it is so that we don't need this anymore. But now you're asking, oh, well, where do these go, Well, remember, in the first video, okay, this is cable 1. This is connection 1. This is connection 2. And this is connection 4. And if you follow the logic, okay, this is going to be ground. This is going to be the positive. And this is going to be the sensor. As a matter of fact, I told you to try to color them at the bottom here so that you'll remember. So the red should be positive, blue should be the sensor, and the black should be ground. Okay, so that should make sense. Okay, now some of you are saying, oh, well, okay, well, when we remove it, duh, how do we plug it in? Well, you have this in your kits. You all have this. Remember. Okay? And in here, just remember that your pin 1 is always the pin that goes closest to where the light on your Raspberry Pi is on. Okay? Now remember, the light on your Raspberry Pi will tell you where pin 1 is. So, let's turn this on. Where's the light? Right there. So that tells you that pin 1 is right. So put your card right beside so you will always know what is the numbering of your pins. So that's pin 1. Pin 39 would be this one right there. Pin 40 would be the one over there. Okay, so with that in mind, now look at your layout. If you forgot how these go, simple. Like I just said, one of them is plus, the other is minus. Look here. Look at your rail. This one is plus 3.3, and the other one's minus. Although there's no real such, by the way, there's no such thing as minus 3.3. Ground is ground. Okay, so we go looking for them. We know that one of them is plus 3.3, the other one's ground, and the other one is GPIO 22. See that number there? Is that clear? Okay, so we plug these in. Okay, the red goes into the plus 3.3. Now look here. Get close. Pin 1 is 3.3 positive. So we plug pin 1 in there. Okay. Now, ground is pretty much any of the ones that say GND. You got a bunch of them. I mean, you got like what? Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of them. So you can choose from any of them. Doesn't matter. I'm just going to choose the closest one, which is pin 6. Okay, so that's going to be 2, 4, 6. Notice that? Compare it to this. Now, next one is GPIO 22. Here's something else, by the way. You didn't even need this thing. If you have this, you will notice that it is actually pretty much in the same order, except for the 3.3. But fine, if you don't, you have this. And by the way, you could have also checked online. This is exactly where your creativity should have kicked in. So where's GPIO 22? Well, we're going to have to count a little, but You know, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it's pin number 8. Let's go again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. GPIO 22. Okay. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, pin 8. Okay, let's make double sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now, if you ever want to do this and pull it apart and put it back together again, one thing I would probably recommend, I don't have it right now, is a little bit of whiteout or a little marker, and you can probably mark your spots right there. If not, just carry this. Okay, so the last thing is to check and see if it works. So now we're going to look it up and see if we find it.
Okay, so we're in the terminal here, and once here we can go ahead and test it. If you forgot, first we of course need to go into the Adafruit directory, and we know that that is in the one that says Adafruit Python DHT. So we change the directory into there, ADA. Since I'm lazy, I'll just put an asterisk. That's dealing with them with that name. There we go. ls. Go into the examples directory. ls. There it is. So we run the sample. If you forget the command, go check your history. As you can see, I have it right there. It's the one that says sudo adafruit DHT 22. So if I just go up about 15 steps, it'll give it back to me. There we go. Real quick, we run it. And there we go. Remember, the readings you see here are in degrees centigrade. So that's 26.6 degrees Celsius or centigrade. But all we wanted to do is verify that it works. We also could have done it a different way, which is we could go test, well actually not technically, but you know that if you open up your browser, you can even do this on a different machine by the way. But if you just run, if you go to 127.0.0.1, if you remember, on our project we set it up so that you can actually record these readings. Anyway, there you go. It still hasn't updated this latest reading, so that's why it's not giving exactly the same number. But the more precise way to check that it's working is run this command. Once again, see there? As long as it gives you back a value and not an error, remember, go watch the other video. If you get an error, you got a problem. Otherwise, you're good to go, and just leave it sitting there for 24 hours. And every once in a while, check this page, 127.0.0.1 on your Raspberry. Now also, here's another cool thing. If you have another computer connected to the same network that your Raspberry is, and it should, and you know the Raspberry's IP address, here I will show you the Raspberry's IP address. Of course, here is ifconfig, and it's saying that its address is 192.168.0.111. Okay. So you can go onto another machine and type up that address, 168.0.111, and notice you can literally reach that page from another computer. Any computer that can view that IP address can see the readings. So you don't even need to have your Raspberry Pi turned on. And this is going to be an even cooler feature later on when I show you how you can access your Raspberry Pi from anywhere in the world. So with that said, I leave you, and good luck.